All right, today we're going to talk about converting customary measures. So customary is what we use here in the United States mostly. So that's things like inches, feet, yard, and things like that. And we'll do some examples. And I'll show you what some of them look like. I had to find stuff around my house, so I wasn't able to find everything. Okay, so you do not have to write this chart down. I'll tell you which ones are probably most important to write down. So length, 12 inches is 1 foot. That's important. That's important. Okay, so write that one down. So this is 12 inches, just a regular ruler. Okay, so this is 1 foot long. Don't think of your feet, but think of a ruler is 1 foot long, 12 inches. So write that down. Now 3 of these equals a yard. This is kind of 36. Going out of them. I'm going to put it the right way. Okay, this is it's actually a meter stick, but it also has yards. So 1, 2, 3, it goes to right about here where it says 36 inches. Okay, so that is a yard stick. Okay, now you see how there's a little bit more? Whoops. So next week when you do the metric system, this is a meter. So a meter is a little bit longer than a yard, okay? But 3 feet, 3 rulers is a yard, okay? Now, the ounces to pounds, I didn't really have anything to show that, but you've probably weighed yourself or you know about how much you weigh. So 16 ounces in 1 pound is important to have. Write that down. And then 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. And tons are normally for like weighing trucks or cement, like big loads of things, okay? And then capacity. Capacity, so fluid ounces is like, when you were a baby, or maybe you have a sibling that drinks a bottle, and those are in ounces, fluid ounces. So 1 gallon is a gallon of milk. Okay, this is a gallon. Now it's not filled all the way, but the big ones are gallons. Okay, now this, hold on, is a quart. This is a quart. So you see that 4 of these make 1 of these, okay? And if you've ever seen a gallon man, that's what that is. I'll show you that 4. Those were really the only things I had, so it's hard for me to show you all those. So let's convert a few things. So you need to make sure and write this down. When you're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, so feet are larger than inches. So if you're going from feet to inches, then you're going to, if you're going from larger to smaller, you're going to multiply. Larger to smaller, you're going to multiply. So we're going from 20 feet, and we want to know how many inches that is. Okay? So if we have 20 feet, there's different ways to do this. We have 20 feet, and we want to know equals how many inches. Well, we're going from larger to smaller, so we're going to multiply 20 times, well, how many inches are in a foot? We go up here. There's 12. So 20 times 12, which then we can get on our calculator if we're not sure what that is off the top of our head. 20 times 12. And that equals 240 inches. Okay, so if we had 20 of these, it would be 240 inches. Okay, next one. 1/4 of a cup to ounces. Now, don't panic because it's a fraction. We can do fractions. You've been taught how to do fractions. 1/4 times, now we have to figure out how many cups are in an ounce. Okay, so we come up here. How many cups are in an ounce? Well, we don't have that on there, of course. Okay, so of course it's not on our graph. I'm not sure why I put this one on here, but there are 8 ounces equals 1 cup. So we're going from larger to smaller, and we're going to multiply by 8. So remember, when we multiply fractions, we're going to put it over 1 if it's a whole number, and you just multiply straight across. So 1 times 8 over 4 times 1, 8 over 4. Well, what is 8 divided by 4? It's 2. So it's 2 ounces. Okay, so 1/4 of a cup is 2 ounces. 36 yards to feet. So if we have 36 yards, that's this. We have 36 of these. How many feet? So how many? There's 3 in each one, remember. So we're going to take 36, since we're going from larger to smaller, 36 times 3, because there's 3 feet equals 1 yard. That's on our chart. I just didn't want to scroll back up. So 36 times 3 is 108. So 108 feet. So if we lined up 36 of these, there'd be 108 feet, because each of them is 3 feet. Okay?
I'm counting wrong.
Okay. I'm actually going to, go on down. I think you're getting that. You multiply. So if we're going from smaller to larger, then we're going to divide. So 15 quarts to gallons. So if you don't remember how many, there we go, how many quarts are in a gallon, you look right here. 4 quarts to 1 gallon. Remember, this was a quart, 4 of these to 1 big gallon. Yep.
Oh, sorry, that's in your face.
So it says if we have 15 of these, how many of these will it make? So how many? Well, 4 goes into each of them. So you're going to do 15 divided by 4. Okay, so it's going to be a decimal, which is fine. Okay, 15 divided by 4 is 3.75, or 3 3/4. So 3.75 gallons. So if you took 15 of these, it would fill up 3, and then it would come up here to the 3/4. Okay? 3/4 of that. So it wouldn't quite give you 4. Okay. 4.5 feet to yards. 4.5 feet equals how many yards? Okay, so now we're going from smaller. So if we have 4.5 of these, how many of these will it make? Well, if we have 4, we know 3 will make 1. And then if we have 1 more, and then a half. Okay, so we got to figure out what it is exactly, though. So it's going to be 4.5 divided by 3, because there's 3 feet in a yard. Remember, you have to make this into an improper fraction. So we multiply, and then we add. So 2 times 4 plus 1 over 2, which is 9. So 9 halves is the same as 4.5. Divided by 3 over 1. Do you guys remember how to divide? Remember, you have to take the reciprocal. So you're going to do 9 halves times 1/3. Okay, and then we can multiply across and get 9 over 6. Let me see if I have room down here. Please stop doing that. So 9 over 6, we need to divide by 3. So we have 3 over 2. Now that doesn't make a lot of sense, so we have to revert it back. How many times does 2 go into 3? Once, with how many left over? 1. 1.5 yards. So if we take 4.5 of these, it's going to make 1 hole and then 1/2 of one. Okay? 1.5 yards. Okay. 6,240 feet to miles. Now, this is the one that I get the most questions on because we can never remember how many feet are in a mile. It said that on the chart, but I'm just going to tell you because I have it memorized. 5,280 feet in 1 mile. I think I said yards, but I meant mile. So a mile is like if you live on 21st and you walk to 31st Street, then you've walked a mile. If you walk from Garnett to Mingo, you've walked a mile. Okay? That's 5,280 of these. 5,280 of these. If you lined them up, okay? So this is asking if I have 2,640 feet and I divide it by 5,280, what am I going to get? Okay, well, I've done this problem enough that I know you're going to get 0.5 or 0.50, okay, or 0.05, which means it's 1/2 of a mile. Or you can leave it as 0.5 of a mile. If you put that in your calculator, you should get 0.5. 2,640 is 1/2 of a mile, okay? So the biggest things you need to remember, if you're going from smaller to larger, you divide. If you're going from larger to smaller, you multiply.